with mental health being said, I was really stoked for you because you and I are both a huge advocate for it. You were on the 320 festival, which was amazing.
Yeah.
I talked to Kevin Lyon about it on the podcast because it's such a good cause. And when Chester Bennington committed suicide, um, he was a hero to hundreds of millions of people, including myself. And when we were on Warped Tour with Poeta, that's how we know each other. If anybody's a little confused, you produced our debut album, and it sounds fantastic. The first day we played to a huge crowd, and like it was so we had the best time in the world, man. It was just like the stars aligned. And then as soon as we got off the stage, we got that news that Chester Bennington had committed suicide, and we everything just came to a halt. Like that was the main focus, and everybody was extremely disheartened and sad, and everybody was helping everybody get through it, um, which was great. But one of my heroes, and Talinda is so brave, and she's so courageous for everything that she's doing. But I'm a huge advocate for it. And how did you get on that festival? Did you reach out? Did they reach out to you? Because I was super stoked for you, man. Like that's something that's right up your alley.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was actually through, I don't know if you know Jordan Lawrence.
He sounds familiar.
He's killing it right now, man. He works for Capitol Records for a bit, and we were working.
That's right.
He's helped me out with a lot of things. So he got in touch with them and got me on the bill, which was great, and it was amazing. And then that led to not only, I mean, obviously the festival moved to online, but it was not only really cool to be a part of that and do that, but then I was introduced to these people. It's called Happy, and they go by like Happy the Movement, and it's essentially an in-between of it's not therapy, it's not a suicide hotline, it's like in the middle. So if you just need to vent, get some stuff off your chest, they're 24/7. You can text, you can call. Your first call's free, and then I think it's like $17 an hour, which is maybe a little bit of money, but even if you need to talk for like 5-10 minutes, it's nice to have that option.
Mm-hmm.
And I got involved with them through that, and it was just like, it means the world to me. This is like everything. Like, dude, I'm being honest. Like, I spent the past 2 months, I spent the last year, but really the past 2 months, like everything was just so amplified right now. And it's like, what is my purpose? Like, what do I want to like leave on this world? Like, what do I want? And the Chester Bennington thing was the biggest wake up call for me. And probably for a lot of musicians or anybody chasing that, where it went, he had everything. He had a family, he had this, he had that. Like, you see that picture, like it's heartbreaking to see the picture. He's in an arena and he's front row and you see all the lights up. Dude, fucking, it's so moving. And it wasn't enough for him. And I have like I've like got done tours, I've got done shows, I've got done stuff and been like, I'm not happy. Like, what is going on? Like, what is wrong here? And then I'm trying to be as open as possible about everything because I'm just trying to destigmatize, and I have my own insecurities with all of it. But I've been in therapy, and then on Thursday, I told him, I was like, every day, if not every other day, I'm depressed and I don't know what to do. And I feel like nothing is helping. And we had the conversation of maybe we should try antidepressants. And that's now a journey that it gave me hope. Like, it's just sucks to get to a place where you feel like there's no hope. And then it's like, well, you know what? Maybe I should try this because I've thought about this for the past 15 years and maybe it's time to look into it, at least try. And I decided, I was like, ask for help, just reach out to people. And I talked to a friend of mine, and she said she's been on antidepressants for 10 years and it saved her life. So I was like, okay, well, if she feels that way and she's like this amazing person, like maybe it's worth it. Maybe I should look into this. And so I've been like doing the research for that. And I'm saying all this just because I know there's got to be a lot of people that feel the exact same way. And they think, I can't talk to therapy because I'm crazy. I can't go on antidepressants because now I'm bipolar or I'm chemically imbalanced. But the truth is, like, we can't help the way we feel. Like, unfortunately, exactly. It's not cold that just goes away. If you know what, like, don't take any medicine, it'll just go away. Like, depression for me is like It's the biggest thing that I had to understand is that this isn't like something that magically goes away when you just ignore it. And I was chasing stuff over and over. And then I was in a great relationship and it wasn't enough. Then I was doing tours. It wasn't enough. It was like, what do I want here, man? And then it's like, just to get to a place where a professional for me was telling me this could help. And we can do low doses. We can try and see what works for you. And then I asked a friend, well, what do you take? You know, and it's just like getting just and more of an understanding. That alone made me feel better. Like I haven't taken one yet. I haven't even been a psychotherapist yet, but I already feel better knowing that there is an avenue I can go down, and it feels good to admit it because I've been like denying it for years. That like, and that's why I posted that quote the other day, because it's like, I'd rather accept that I'm just sad than like fear, like, oh no, what if I go into that place again? Because it gets dark and I don't want to feel that right now. And it's like, if I can just accept, you know what, you're sad right now. It's okay. Just be sad. Turn off the computer, walk away, put Twitter away. You don't need to create. You don't need to write right now. And especially as creatives, like when we get in these ruts, dude, it's just, it sucks because it's guilt. And it's like, how many people wish they could be working right now? I should be producing this song. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to fucking do it. And it's just been so hard. And I've felt so much better the past couple of days just from that conversation I had with my therapist. And it's been the first time that good feeling is carried over from day to day. And I'm like, oh, this feels so much better just to like know that like there is an option. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is another, like there is a fork in the road. Like this isn't just one long highway. Like you're going to be able to have options and go onto different streets. I'm using this as a metaphor, but you're able to go onto different streets and such, and you know, choose what can benefit you, physically, emotionally, personally. And I still, you know, I still try to preach like just for people who don't have that courage that you should start reaching out to someone. I mean, I haven't seen my therapist in a very long time because of the fact that I don't really have insurance for my job. But I mean, I do talk to a lot of people that they don't give me opinions. They just kind of let me talk and they listen and we go back and forth through conversation. And I kind of can relate in some ways, obviously not to a T, with the depression. It does happen because depression for me would happen when sometimes at like my happiest moments, when I was in like you said, I had a really great relationship for quite some time, and I let my depression kind of come into the way. And it's something that I didn't acknowledge until it hit me when the relationship was over, and I was like, "Fuck, man! Like this is real." But I am learning from that currently, and it's okay. It's really okay to feel that way, and I don't want people to think that it's not at all. And with certain things in your life, I mean, did you feel depressed when you were like, say, at your peak? Like when like you release like Malicious or I don't know, or Everybody Dies, and you feel so good about that music, and then, or when you and Carly were dating at one point, like did you have those days where depression would kick in just out of nowhere?
The whole time. And for me, it's like I've been like getting really, really close to my parents now more than ever because we're like openly talking about it, and that's like huge for me. And it's the understanding that I think a lot of people need to get is that when you're depressed and like suffer from depression, like long term, and not just like a lot of people go through sad times, especially breakups, especially, when things go wrong, even like for, people not getting into a school or these things, like there can be moments that kind of like solidify it. For me, I don't know if it's self-esteem, insecurity. There's something that's like, it's carried on since I was a teenager, and you find a way to mask it. So I'll never show you. You know what I mean?
I feel you're 100%.
You're writing a lot of sad stuff, and then I'm like, I'm emo. And then I realized, I was like, why am I making a joke about that? And then I was like, even with some of the songs that I was writing, where there's a song I wrote called Bulletproof, and forever, like since I've been touring, that's my opening song because it's like a super hype song and it's been a fan favorite. And everyone's like, where's Bulletproof? And I was like, I don't know, maybe one day I'll do it. And if I'm being honest, it's like, I don't believe that song. And it's like, it's some real shit because the chorus is, I know that I'm bulletproof. And I'm like, that's a fucking lie. I'm trying to say something that I want to feel and I don't feel it. And it's like hard to admit that, you know? And it's like, it's tough. But what I'm understanding and my point about like getting really close with my parents and talking to them about it is that a lot of people don't understand depression because they relate it to sadness. And what I'm realizing is that like having the conversation with my mom about it, where she's like, when I get sad, I tell myself like, it's going to be okay. Like you're going to get out of it. And she pulls herself out. When you're in depression, you're like, there's no hope. Nothing's going to get better. I'm going to be in this darkness forever. There's no fucking light. This just happened and it's not making me happy. So what? Nothing will. And it's like this, it's the darkest thoughts and there's like no glimmer of hope. And to try to explain to somebody who's never suffered depression that it's hard for them to understand. They're like, but just don't think about it. I have a song coming out with Scott and it's like we made a joke of it. Because they're like, don't be sad anymore. It's like, holy shit, that's it. I'm cured. Like, it's like we made a joke because it's like, you can't just fucking say, don't be sad. You can't just say, well, think about something else, you know, go do this and distract yourself. It's like, but you in your mind, you know, it's going to come back to it. But the truth is like when you get out of it and you're like, holy shit, like, why was I so dark in that thought? Like, there is reasons to be happy. There is reasons of worth living. And then it's like, okay, how do I stay in this? And going back to that quote, and it was something my therapist and I talked about. It's like, it's easier for me to accept that I'm going to be sad than to be like, oh no, what if I get to that dark place again? Like, what's going to happen? It's like, you will, and that's fine. But just know that that's not it. That's not the end. And there are alternatives and ways to get through it. And that's what I'm trying to like figure out my fucking bulletproof before I put it out, I guess.
I'm totally trying to implement that situation with the seeing that there's other options. I've never really thought about it like that until recently. I have certain things that just really kind of just in my gut could not figure out like what do I do next kind of thing. So it's great that we can have these types of outlets to try to resolve these problems. It doesn't go away overnight. It's basically like a marathon. It's like a long-term thing. Nobody's ever completely healthy. Nobody's ever completely healed. There's always some kind of like little just little parts of you that it'll take time to heal. But sometimes it's like leaving a scar. You know what I mean? It's like when you get scratched. Like if you run over a piece of glass, or you run over a piece of glass with your foot. It'll bleed, it'll heal, it'll scab, it'll go away, but it still leaves that scar. So it's never going to go away ever. It's just, and I want to go back to Chester Bennington, and this kind of like frustrates me because you and I relate as artists, and we put a lot of passion to our music. And now, thankfully, I can actually say this: I am disgusted at the so-called fans of Linkin Park who would bash their new songs on social media. They're the same people who would say, like, I love you, Chester. I miss you, Chester. It's not the same without you, blah, blah, whatever they say. But through writing their music, which is their own creation, which is basically something that they put so much heart and love and passion into, and they release into the world for people to enjoy. And I remember seeing YouTube videos where the comments were they were bombarded with negativity. Like, it's true that us as, entertainers or public figures, whoever you may be, artists, actors, you see so many great comments that make you feel great, but as soon as you see that one comment that's negative, it hits you. It just hits you so hard that it's like, man, like I can't do this. Like, I had a hard time just releasing me just drumming videos covers. Like, I was like so fearful of the negative comments, so I'm starting to get a little bit more confident with it. But when these so-called fans, so many negative comments, and I remember Chester was on a radio station. I don't know if it was somewhere on XM, but he said that he's like, I don't know what to do. Like the fans aren't responding well to any of the music that we put out, and it's killing me. I'm trying to cooperate, and then he was starting to respond on his personal Instagram. I'm telling you right now, and I promise, if you go back on his personal Instagram and you start deep diving in the comments, you will see a plethora of negative comments, and that's disgraceful and disgusting, and that affects people.
Unfortunately, I have a different opinion on that because it sucks, but whenever you get big, and this is something that I told myself like from day one, like think about your favorite artist, and like Hybrid Theory was one of my favorite albums, like growing up, like just playing basketball in my, in my driveway and just listening to that and, being like, crawling in, like all that shit.
Love that stuff.
But when I started to hear their new music, my first thought as the teenage Bruce was just like, this is different. This is not the Linkin Park I knew. But then there's the new Bruce who's doing pop production and stuff. And I'm like, this is a smart move. Like, I get what they're doing. The fans aren't going to like it, though. It's going to be like this weird thing that they're going to have to find a middle ground for it. And the fucked up part is, to your point, when you listen to those lyrics and stuff, like, what was the one with Kiara?
I can't personally pull anything up right now, so I don't have like a guy to pull up quotes and stuff. Yeah,
I'm gonna pull up that song. God, why can't I think of it? It was like the most recent big single.
I just feel bad that it hit him so hard to the point where like you can say you dislike a song or new music or whatever, but like don't be so passive aggressive and like disrespectful. Like he's a person too. Like you know what I mean? Like that's where I'm basically coming from. Like
yeah, no, oh heavy.
Heavy. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that song's so fucking good. And yeah, no, my point is that like, unfortunately, those people are always going to exist. It's just it's way more. They probably had those people back then. Oh, you're on fucking MTV. You fucking sellouts from their hometown, and it's like probably carried over from thing to thing. Like the moment you get popular, you got to deal with that shit. And it's obviously Chester had a way more fucked up past than that. He had to deal with a lot of fucking demons. And there's interviews with him being like, he's like, this is a bad neighborhood. And like, I can't get out of that. It's like, I grew up in this bad neighborhood, and it's him. And, I don't know. I think it sucks that there's people are so toxic and they're saying fans, but I think there is a middle ground of that where it's like some of those people grew up on it, probably said shit. They're like, fuck this isn't them. But then they're like so guilty afterwards. Like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. And hopefully that was a wake up call to them to be like, maybe I should respect my idols while they're alive before I'm shitting on them in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
And I always have been really bad with criticism. I'll focus on that more than I will the positive comments. But recently I've learned to just like put something out and walk away, which is like, if anybody that's trying to post videos, TikToks, whatever it is, like even if it's you just trying to post a funny tweet, like how many times do we have anxiety being like, people are gonna think this is funny, or people are gonna be like, that's whack. And then you're like, but I'm gonna come off confident. And then you post it and people are like, not it. And you're like, fuck.
I tried. I don't know. Like,
but at the same time, it's like, who cares? And it's like my whole thing I'm going to try to like make my mission and my statement is that at the end of the day, we go to sleep with our own thoughts and we wake up with them. So we have to live with this. Nobody fucking else does. So if it makes you happy to do X, Y, and Z, like fucking do it. What's the worst that could happen? Like somebody says like, you fucking suck. It's like, don't believe it. Cause like, it's baby steps, obviously. But I'm learning to like, before it used to take me, like I wouldn't post anything on Instagram for a while because I was so afraid of like how I would look or the likes that I would get or the comments and I was like, I don't like none of that defines me. Like none of that, like I'm not sitting here now going like, remember that time you got like 60 comments? I'm like, no, I don't care. Like I'd rather the comments that mean something to me is somebody being like, your song meant X to me, you know, or this this thing moved me in a way, or I felt really creative after I heard this, so I made this art. Like that all day.